Johnson. You can follow me on Twitter at Darian Shot It. Um, Basketball coach at Bartlett High School for the girls program. Just overall, just a hoop head, man. Just super into the game and uh, kind of just love the Alaska hoop scene. And yeah,
For sure, for sure. All right, y'all. Well, I'm Demetrius Preston. Um, basketball, Alaska basketball enthusiast, apologist. Trying to trying to defend Alaska. Basketball and that sort of thing. On the media side, my social media. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Demietrius P. Spelled Demietrius. Yeah, so just follow me on there for all my deep tweets and posts and IG story and all that. So, what you got, man?
Yeah, so Eric Boot, man, you can follow me on Twitter, Coach E Boot, and on Instagram is just Eric Boot. Hoop head, man, love basketball. I love coaching. I love spending time around basketball, and I'm all about good energy and positive energy. So, yeah, man.
For sure, for sure. Hey, man, it's been a lot going on. This past couple of weeks, just dealing with Alaska basketball and everything dealing with that. What's some of the topics, man? What's some of the current events that's been going on around the state, high school, college? What's some of the things that's been standing out to you?
Biggest thing for me, man, shout out the Monroe Catholic girls, man. They did some historical things in less than 24 hours against two of the top girls teams from the interior. Over the last few years, having WNBA players, numerous next level players, college coaches within those two programs, Lathrop and West Valley, and they were able to knock both off, man. And walk away with a tournament championship in a Joe T Classic, which is a pretty historical tournament and tough tournament up there to play in. So hats off to them, man. Shout out Katie Bass and Maggie. Hope I'm not saying her name wrong. Zavarro. Her dad, she's a coach's kid. I think Katie's parents may be a coach. D, what was the other kid's name, bro? I don't want to.
I might be mispronouncing it, so if I am, I apologize. But Matea Felix, and then there's another girl on there named Shelby Eidenmiller, and all four of those girls made all tournament team also. So yeah, big shout out to them along with their coach and their teammates. Obviously, it's a group thing. So, but yeah, I've actually been watching them pretty closely. I remember last year when we were in Fairbanks. Me and E were looking at watching a game, and Katie has stuck out to us. So we were talking about her a lot. So I've been keeping up with them a lot this year, watching their games on YouTube and everything like that. And I've just been really impressed with how hard they play. And it all seems like they like to play together. So that's just been something super dope to see. And I think when you have teams like that play super hard and love to play together, that's how you kind of upset a couple of teams and things like that. So yeah, big shout out to Monroe Catholic again.
For sure. Yeah, Monroe girls, man, definitely doing historic things. On a bit of a tear as of late. Keeping it in Fairbanks though. What have y'all been seeing out of the West Valley boys? I know we got Tyreek, Luke, and those guys. I want to say like 12-1 right now. With their one loss being a Monroe. Monroe's probably the best team in 3A right now. But yeah, what are some of the things y'all been seeing out of the West Valley boys as they've been, dominating, starting off the season?
For me, man, Tyreek is one of my favorite players in the state. I mean, I just really like his game. Um, and I just saw him for the first time in the Elevate series. Towards the beginning of I actually watched Mingo play, I think once or twice in that Elevate series also. But at first, I wasn't super sold on him. And by that, just saying like I didn't know how good he really was. Like you could tell he was good, but like I said, I didn't get to see him play a lot. Um, but after being able to keep up with them this year, and seeing just what they've been doing, it's clear that they're two of the better kids in their classes, and just in the state in general. And I just think they've been playing super well. And also, a big shout out to Stu, because he's a kid who I watched more in comp league, because he was around when I first started coaching youth basketball and comp league and stuff like that. And you can always tell anytime he came down for tournament, he was one of the best kids in his class also. Watching him go head to head with, the Benitos, the Mir, Micaiah, and all of those kids, they've been playing really well, and they're all super impressive. So I've been super happy to see them, and I'm happy to see what they do going forward, and kind of see them try to make a run for state.
No doubt, yeah, they've been tough, man. I like Tyreek. I like Tyreek a lot. Um, I think with him, it's one of those things where you try to kind of, watch the film and evaluate, or watch in person, evaluate, and you see like, well, okay, how talented is he, or this sort of thing, or is he tall, like, And I remember first seeing him and just thinking like, yeah, I seen him when he's at Lathrop, and people, he can hoop, and wasn't too sold, but like you said, during that Elevate series, he just kind of really made an impression on me, where he was just scoring the ball. I remember that, but they played against East, and just how easy he was scoring. He's just one of those guys that's just wired to score. He's always in attack mode, whether it's off the bounce, whether he's hitting jumpers. He's just gonna find a way to put the ball in the basket. And I think he's obviously, watching the film and things, like you could tell, like talking with people, he's lost some weight. Like he looks like he's, leaned up and lost a good 15 pounds. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you've been working on your game, working on your body. He's scoring at a high level. Reading on Twitter, actually Instagram. No one misquoted, but Jalen McCullough, with the I Hoop Academy, former Monroe Catholic and UAF alum. He has said through Tyreek's first 8 games, he was averaging over 20 points, and they had only lost 1 game. They still only have 1 loss on their record. So I'm talking a lot about Tyreek, but he has been probably the most impressive to me, the most consistent, in all the games they played. Haven't seen him have a bad game, efficient scorer, and he's only a junior. So, I think the sky's the limit for him if he continues to work, and it's just going to be interesting to see, what he does. They got some solid pieces. I was reading on Twitter. Jordan Rodenberger works for KTVF, Channel 11, sports reporter, sports anchor for them, and he said that last season we all knew they had a lot of seniors last season, but they actually graduated 7 seniors last year. So to see them come into this year, start the season off 12-1, win the Joe T Classic. They got 2 guys that really can score, and Corterius Mingo, Tyreek Luke. But then you also have point guard Stu Earhart, right, sophomore, Judah Ward. He's kind of their, energy guy, super athletic senior. It's gonna be interesting. I know they got that NLC series coming up next week, where you got Wasilla Colony. I think Palmer's coming up as well, so it should be interesting to see what they do against some teams from out of town. So
I'm really excited about that series, man. I just think, being a basketball head and, with all the mandates and stuff going on now, which really won't allow us to play anybody outside of our school district. When you see teams that have a chance to get outside of their little bubble for whatever it may be, then go play against teams that they would normally have already played maybe once, maybe even twice already. Like, it's super exciting for me because that's a little bit closer to normalcy than, you know, everybody just playing against schools that's in a 2-3 mile radius from them. So I'm really excited to catch a lot of those games, man.
Facts. And on the girls' side too, because I know you got schools like the Lathrop, West Valley. They're gonna be playing against the Colonies and the Wasilas, and it's some players, it's some matchups that I think we're all excited to see. We've been all trying our best to follow the streams to see who's performing, who's playing well. We put out who we thought were some of the better players coming into the season, but seeing players who maybe we didn't include and things like this, who are stepping up, who are making very big impacts on their respective teams. It's a lot of kids. It's kids all over the place. 4A, 3A, Anchorage, the Valley, Fairbanks. There are kids all over the state, man. Speaking of that, who are some of the players, just individual players that y'all have been impressed by, just at this juncture in the season? Some kids that we might have known, or kids that maybe a little underrated, maybe we don't talk about or hear about as much.
For sure. The kid at Diamond, is it Johnson or Johnston?
Johnston. Come on, Luke.
Yeah, Luke, man. Like, that kid has been. I think they lost their first game Friday against Service, if I'm not mistaken. But outside of that, man, he's been having a freshman kid, man, coming in, playing hard, getting his shots off. And he's really impressive to me, man. I think he could be one of the better players in the CIC and even in the state for the next few years moving forward, man. Really nice, confident with his shot, bro.
Yeah, Luke he definitely can hoop, man. And admittedly didn't get to really see him a lot before high school, but knowing he was coming in with that group, the 2023 class with Mir and Caden Lane-Bull Ingram.
Wait. So he's a sophomore?
Yeah, he's only 10th grader.
Oh, bro, I thought he was a freshman. My bad. Did he play JV last year?
Yeah, he played JV.
Yeah,
he
played JV.
That makes sense. I stand corrected. My bad.
No, and I think the other thing, just so people don't get us confused, did Diamond lose to Service or South?
I think they actually lost to South because Service lost. It was a close game, but
well,
that was the one that went to double overtime, right?
I think so. I'm losing.
I'm pretty sure that game. I think the Service and Diamond game was like double overtime, 2-point loss type deal or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think Diamond is low key. They got some guys, always well coached. Shout out Brad Lowers and his staff. But they lost a considerable amount from last year. Obviously Diamond has been good for a while. Have they played in like the last 4 state championships, something like that? So, they re-up and they got all these sophomores, Luke Johnston, McGuire, and all these guys. And I'm just like, okay, like, it's not slowing down. But, Luke definitely can shoot the ball. What was you going to say?
My bad. Diamond lost to Chugiak, bro.
I was just about to say, I was just thinking that in my head. Yeah, I was like, we all messed up. Yeah,
shout out Jackson Wall, man.
Oh yeah, I'm tripping them. Yeah, shout out.
Who did South? South played West, right? South beat West this past week. That's what I was thinking of.
Hey, that was that was a crazy game. I was watching that. Shout out NFHS Network, baby. no plug, but hey, I watched that game and I mean, it just had everything you would want. I mean, for the most part, like, Trayvon was getting it, getting dunks and all types of stuff, and guys hitting threes. It was back and forth, like, guys clapping. Just, I mean, it was about as high energy as a game as you can expect, in a high school game where there's literally like no fans. I mean, like, it just felt like playoff atmosphere.
Man, it's that gym, man. I don't know if I was telling Darian this the other day, man, but West is probably my favorite place to coach a basketball game, man. Like that gym, like they do a really good job. Shout out Berglund, man. He do a really good job with announcing. He do a really good job with the music. And it just always feels like a basketball environment when you're in that gym. So I'm not to take away from the teams, man, but that energy in that gym, man, is something else, man. It's something else, bro.
There is I did want to give a quick shout out to JR though. I've been watching. I don't want to say I've watched a lot of West games, but from the games I have watched, I just really like what I've seen from his freshman year, and even on a different level from his 8th grade year to his freshman year, from freshman year to his sophomore year. I feel like, obviously he was working heavy this off season, and I just think his game has developed a lot, and I really like what I'm seeing out of him, and I think that he's gonna have a good couple of years, a big couple of years, and then the other team I wanted to give a shout out to is obviously we just said Chugiak. I think they're super well coached, and
Yes.
Chugiak plays super hard. I don't know a lot of details about their program and things like that, but again, like I every game that I watch, they're super well coached, and they play hard. And I think that's a big thing. Is I think those kids will run through a wall for their coach, and it's dope to see. And that's how I think they end up winning a game as big as the one that they won over Diamond. So
Yeah, that was a huge game. Especially Chugiak playing on the road. Like y'all said, shout out coaching staff, Coach Schultz. I want to say the only woman on the boys' side that's a head coach in the CIC, doing an excellent job, right? Taking down Diamond. Diamond was undefeated before that, giving them a loss at their place. We done all seen the clips with Jackson Wall, swinging on rims and stuff. But, you got kids like Morgan Grant, low key, younger brother of a player that most people know or have heard of. They've been around for a while, Culture Lasher. Ironically enough, a Diamond alum, right? So, Morgan Grant, or Culture Lasher's younger brother, as it turns out, is actually at Chugiak. And I want to say he's only a sophomore, so definitely keep an eye out on him. I seen he had a decent game against Diamond. I want to say he hit like 2 or 3 3-pointers, rebounding and things. Jackson Wall, Owen Lewis, 2 kids who have been with the program since their freshman year. They're seniors now. 2, I want to say they've been on all conference since they were like sophomores. So really guys who have earned their respect, at least as far as the CIC goes, but just probably don't get talked about on a statewide level like that. But
you remember the kids that played with Westlake out there in the Elevate series, bro? That that was the weekend that they won the tournament with Bishop. Was that kid that was playing alongside Dylan that day? Is that Owen?
Yeah, he's kind of shorter, but
but he's active, right?
Like he's like point guard size, but he's kind of more like get to the basket, athletic. You could tell he just has that alpha that dog, and he's gonna touch the paint, he's gonna finish, or he's gonna get to the free throw line. He's knocking down jumpers, like he's gonna get his points, you know. And then Jackson also was on that team as well. You know, I remember watching Jackson when he was like way younger, right? And you know, now seeing him, I was tweeting like, wow, like, you know, he in game dunking like it's easy now. You know, he, you know, dunking two hands, you know, chin up with guys running at him, and you know, punching in the lane, and you know, staring at dudes. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have seen this from a Chukiak player in many, many years. Let's just call it what it is, you know what I mean? So they have some pieces, man, and like you said, they're gonna play extremely hard. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do in regions. You know, you got to think they're one of those teams that traditionally you don't really talk about as far as the CIC boys go, but you know, they got as good a chance as anybody to, you know, punch their ticket to the state tournament. Them in South, I think South is in a very similar position, man. It's an interesting year in the CIC. So,
speaking of the CIC, I don't know if we can talk about the CIC right now without mentioning East boys basketball. What have y'all seen from them that you guys have, or what takeaways have you guys kind of seen from them over the past, 7 games?
Yeah, it should be 6. It should be 6. But me seeing them up close, man, and just one thing that I noticed with those dudes, man, even do warm-ups, right? They vibe together. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know when somebody's really tight when they all got their own little catchphrase that they only know, and they're screaming out and laughing and giggling, but they're still, you know, there's still a voice amongst that whole group. Hey, lock in, but they still can have a good time while doing it. And then, you know, obviously when the whistle is blown, they got it all, man. They're hungry, bro. They play good defense. And they're pushing the ball and they're trying to get action going fast on the offensive end. And then, you know, dudes coming off the bench, man, they wanted just more of the starters. So I think Coach got a good situation over there where any night, man, he can have a different starting lineup and give anybody that's on the opposing end fits. One of the kids that I think isn't talked about as much is the kid that Joey's always talking about, Darian. I can't remember his first name.
I think it was Dayon Dowdy, possibly.
I'm not sure of his name, but he's one of those kids that I've been around a lot through the AK Elite days, you know, playing with Lionel. And then obviously, you know, going into high school, he didn't play varsity right away or get off right away, but he's one of those kids where you definitely can feel his impact from the start of the game, and obviously as the game go on, like you feel his impact right away. He's in control of a lot of things. So, but shout out to them dudes, man. Them dudes they're hooping right now, and I think they're doing exactly what everybody expected them to do, is run the table. So shout out to them, man.
No, for sure. Yeah, they you know, I think it's no secret, like y'all said, man. East is loaded this year. But I think the same could be said on pretty much every year for, you know, the past several years. I mean, going back 5 years, you know, East just they're talented. But this year feels different. You know, like you said, it just feels like there's a more genuine, just, you know, synergy and camaraderie between, you know, the team. You know, they're looking and playing a lot more disciplined than, you know, maybe we've, you know, seen with East teams in the past. It seems like, you know, that's a thing. I mean, as far as, you know, talking about unselfish play and things like this, when you got a lot of talented players just kind of balancing egos, who scores on a given night. Okay, do we care who's the high point scorer on a given night? I don't feel like East is really in that space right now where at the end of the game, people are salty or mad that, okay, well, Hassan had 30 and, I only had 12. It's like, well, we won the game. I'm happy for my brother, for my teammate. I think that's what we're seeing with the East boys. And you have these super talented kids who all love to play for each other and with each other. And, you got a very good coaching staff. I think the sky's the limit. They have championship, outlook, but they have championship pieces. They have everything. They have great guard play, shooters, guys who can handle it, put it on the floor, put the ball in the basket. You got, they're tough, they're scrappy. Guys are going to get you rebounds. Jave Oliva, Elijah Reed. Like, even the role players are very, very solid. But then at the top, I mean, it's East to lose this year, man. And I'm just gonna say it. Like, Colony boys are good, West Valley's good, but on paper, right now, East boys is tough. East is gonna be a tough out. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do. With March coming up, March right around the corner. Interested to see just how they finish out the year. So
yeah.
But
I think overall, I just wanted to say the one thing I love about that East boys team is obviously they have, I mean, almost their whole team are like, kids who can really score the ball, but them kids really defend. And I think that's what really, really separates them is the fact that they all love to play defense and they're all going to play defense super hard. I listened to them the other night when I was at the game and they were playing Bartlett. Just the way that they talk, they communicate with each other while they're on the court. They're talking a whole bunch, and they're just dogs. They're gonna get up in you, and make sure that like they take it personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they do it 94 feet. So I was super impressed with that. And that makes them super lethal because they can all score the ball, but the other thing is that they can all defend super well. So, yeah, man, that's a special group that they got over there.
yeah, it's special. I think if they was able to put it all together this year, it would be something big. You know, East don't have a whole lot of championships to speak of last decade plus. So if they can get to the big game and it would be big. So it's gonna be interesting. So what else? What else we got going on, y'all? We got high school, we got college, we got pros. What y'all been I'm seeing Daishen on ESPN, Bleacher Report every couple of days. Y'all been peeping this G League stuff?
Bro, I seen a highlight of Daishen today where he made a pass. I swear it felt like that dude was in the air for the longest. Even after he got rid of the pass, he looked over and watched Boy hit a layup and then hit the ground. Like he's elite, man. I think at the time he had like 13 assists, 7 rebounds or something like that. Like just, in control of the game. I think him moving forward, man, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, man, he's definitely gonna be on one of them big time rosters next year, man. It's gonna be exciting, and I think it's gonna be good for the city, man. To show kids like that's still very much possible, but with the understanding there's a lot of things that got to take place for something like that to happen. So,
Facts. Yeah, I think it's exciting, man, and it's something rare, it's something different. Um, because there's a lot of folks who say, well, Daisha's not really from Alaska. He went to high school in Vegas, but then anytime you put a camera in front of his face or you know he on his phone, it's Alaska, 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 and I'm just like, man, that's my guy, man. Like,
bro, Daishen played with the East Anchorage Eagles, bro. He's from Anchorage. Daishen went to Mears Middle School, bro.
I think that's the dopest part, though, is like we don't really got to argue it because he's the one that represents himself. You know what I'm saying? And Like, I think that's the dopest part about it. Like, there ain't gotta it's not us saying he from here. Like, that's him. He don't want saying he from here. So, um, yeah, he's doing his thing, man, and I'm just happy that, um, I know there's a lot of talk about whether he should have went to college, the G League, et cetera, or whatever. But it's just good to see that. I mean, he's having fun and he's enjoying the decision that he made, and I just think that overall is dope. So
Yeah, I agree. I remember, he kind of like broke the internet when he decommitted from UCLA and said he was going to play in the G League instead, and how big that was when he came out. Because I think he was actually, I want to say he was the first kid out of all of them to actually make that decision. I want to say he did it before Jalen Green, Kaminga and all of them. So it was kind of like, it was like historic when he did that, and just, now how it's playing out for him. And, people going to have critiques and be critical, just very micro analyzing every little thing that he does. But, that kind of comes with the territory. So I think he's showing that he's obviously an elite level passer. His court vision is just the way he can see the play before it happens. He understands how to use his body. Excellent pace, getting downhill. He just understands how to play the point guard position. And with some of the deficiencies he may have, and he might not be the most explosive jumping off the ground and jump shot. Okay, well, is he shooting it like that? But I think he is showing through the games that he's more than capable of learning on the fly, playing with elite level talent, and just making an impact on winning. Whether he's scoring the ball or whether he's just playing a facilitator role, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. This next year when the draft comes up. I just can imagine, like in my mind, I'm picturing him. Hopefully, the COVID stuff is somewhat so we can have an actual in-person draft, right? But him walking across the stage, or maybe surrounded by family or something, somewhere, at some house or wherever, some party, and putting on a hat, and somebody sticking a microphone in his face, and they asking him about this and that, and well, what do you think about the team? And he's like, well, first of all, guys, I just want to shout out God, shout out Alaska, and that's all I got to say, y'all. And I feel like that's the type of energy he's gonna be on, because up until this point, all he's really done, like literally every time he does something monumental, he shouts out God and he shouts out Alaska. Like nobody is force feeding him answers or saying, hey, say this. He's just his own, it's just coming out of him, and it's dope to see, man, because just having somebody on that level, being the kind of ambassador for Alaska in a lot of ways, the forerunner, the forefront, the top guy, it's real dope. And just seeing Ruthie and Alyssa and all these people coming that's playing at the highest level, and then everybody coming up behind them, up under them, being inspired, I think it's super dope, Speaking of Alyssa and people like that, who are some other people y'all are seeing, on the timelines and such, who are who are doing some major things, whether it be college or who are some kids y'all are seeing?
Bentiu Panoam, man. Shout out 1101, bro. Talk. Give me a stat line, man. I know you got some numbers over there, bro. Give me some numbers on boy, man. Come on, man.
Hold on. I got.
Come on, man. Give me some numbers on the dog, bro.
My stuff acting funny now. Hold up.
Cause he's been on some real legendary, like.
Bentiu
people know his name, bro.
Bentiu is definitely on some historic, but I think the thing with Bentiu that just makes the story so dope, and Darian, I know you can speak to this probably better than any of us. It's just seeing where he came from and where he started at. Always very talented, but in his grade, in his class, just in the city, seems like there was always somebody ahead of him. And not necessarily, because people will say, well, that's your opinion and things like this. I think at a point there really was no argument that there were multiple kids who were just better than him. And that's a pretty opinionated statement, but it's like, okay, 30 ball, 40 ball, all L's. Like, I'm sitting back like, okay, like, not to rag on Bentiu, but I just remember like thinking like Bentu's tough, but like it's whether it be Daishen White, I'm gonna just say names, whether it be Daishen White, this guy, that guy, guys were definitely giving Bentiu problems. So to see him persevere and to take the route that he did and to bet on himself and to come out on this side excelling is wild. I'm giving you the long-winded version, but he's at University of North Dakota now, D1. Just recently moved to the Summit League. And let me get a rundown of his last 5 games. So it's more than just points, but we're gonna talk about points because we just gonna talk about points. Last 5 games. I should have added all these up, gave you a pretty low average, but last 5 games, he's got 11 points, 25 points, 22 points, 7 points, and most recently, 19 points. So 4 double-figure games, almost 3 20-point games, and 3 out of those 5, I believe, are wins. Bentu's balling, bro.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts, bro. Just based off of his whole little story, like everything you just said, bro, like him going to, different places before he got to this stop, and like him being implemented into that system and just doing what he's doing right now, man, it's some monumental stuff, man. That's pretty legendary, bro. Regardless of what happens now for the rest of the season, like that spurt of games should be talked about for a long time within that program, man.
Facts. Big facts. Darian, I know you bubbling over there, man. You got
yeah, man. Bentiu, that's my brother, man. It's dope to see. I think there was a time frame where in between my sophomore year going into my junior year, I remember being in that mode of like I want to transfer, I'm gonna transfer, stuff like that. And man, Bentiu had all the younger guys like Ryan Traylor, Anthony Camacho, all of them dudes. He had them up in the sand dunes, and Bentiu would be texting me like, "Hey man, they taking your spot. You not here." Like he'd be blowing up my phone like on just some like tough love, like leadership type stuff, But I think he was just the definition of a kid who put his head down and just worked. You know what I'm saying? And I think that just says everything you need to know about him. Like he just outworked everybody. Like I don't know a kid, I can't name a kid that I personally knew at that time that was working harder than Bentiu. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's dope because you see how things play out long term versus short term, right? Like he was outworking everybody, but not a lot of people were talking about him the way that people are talking about him now.
Big facts.
It was just that long term game of like, okay, if I do this now, where is it gonna have me in 5, 6 years? You know what I'm saying? And that was Bentiu, man. Just always wanted to work, and he did it without anybody having to ask. He did it without anybody having to recognize it. Like he was just a leader, you know what I'm saying? And that was a vocal leader. He led by example, and all of that, man. So I say like I was blessed to be around that at that time. because it instilled things into me that I get to kind of take forward and kind of talk to kids about. Like that was my boy, you know what I'm saying? Like I played with him. So now I get to tell kids all the time, like, okay, like, yeah, he's there. But just like you said earlier about Daishen, like there's a lot of things that have to happen in order for you to get to that point of success. But like it starts by just working, man. And that's what he was about. So it's dope to see, you know what I'm saying? It's dope to see. And I just wish him the best of luck going forward. So
Yeah, that's big, man. Um, I've been thinking like of a time to kind of come out on a record, I guess, and say it, talk about it. But going back to the earlier we got next days, Bentiu was one of the guys. He was always one of the guys that was around and he played and he was always on varsity, or his freshman year he was on the JV, but you knew he was really good. Everybody saw his older siblings and knew he was gonna be good. As far as the we got next stuff, if there was a player ranking unofficial, if there was a travel team, if there was if there was any way that we could have got Bentu in on some stuff, I keep saying, but if there was any way we could get Bentu in on something, it was usually not even intentionally like I didn't like him, but he was like the Damian Lillard of that time or something. Like he just was gonna get snubbed. Like, no, you're not going to get picked. Like I'm gonna pick this guy, Jalen McCullough. I'm gonna pick Desmond Johnson. I'm gonna pick Dejan White. I'm gonna pick Daniel Hornbuckle. I'm gonna pick Bailey West. I'm naming names. Brandon Huffman. I'm taking the whole CIC over Bentu. Not literally, but it just was one of those things where ninth grade, 10th grade, and I traveled with Bentu, right? Because I was working with Team 907 when he was going into his 10th grade year at Bartlett. So, he was down there with no, he was down there with he was down there with Hornbuckle, with Kamaka, with Bailey West, with Anton Chambly from Colony, and all these kids. And you always saw like, oh wow, like, man, this kid, he plays super hard, and he's saying all the right things, kind of almost even on some like light, like, okay, like he sounds like he's reading this out of like the what do adults and coaches want to hear for dummies like manual or something. Like this can't really be like how he talks and thinks. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna work hard and see where my hard work gets me. And he's like 15, and I'm like, okay, man, like you don't have to say that. Like we're cool, man. Like, but that's like really how he was, and just seeing the work that he put in. It's still a surprise that he's where he's at now, but it shouldn't be. But watching all this stuff, I'm new to a lot of this. I've been doing this for a while, but I'm new to it. So it's just interesting seeing like the parallels between, a kid that's talented, one works hard, one doesn't work at all or quite as hard, and just seeing how the different stories go. Things seem to fall into place for kids like Bentu, Jeremiah Bailey, these types of kids, Tobin Carlberg. Like, there was kids better than them. There was so many kids better than them. Like,
do you think that has something to do with them ultimately getting to where they're at now, though? Like, do you think that has something to do with that whole evolution of that? Like, yo, I have to like keep working and plugging to show what I'm really made of, because right now people aren't seeing it. Like, do you think that has something to do with it?
Absolutely. And I think that's a great question, because people are like, well, rankings don't mean anything. This, that, and the third. Rankings don't mean anything. And in one way, absolutely right. Rankings don't mean anything. Anybody with an internet connection who can make a Wix website or who has the Notes app on their phone can make a ranking. But
It's all subjective, bro.
it's all subjective and it's all people's opinions. But I feel like there is, especially with what we, did with the certified 16 lists and things of that nature, like we very intentionally and strategically wanted to put these out, not only to just say we put out a list, but to help motivate kids. And I think these types of lists and things and such do motivate kids because people are not going to agree, obviously, adults, kids alike. But I read an article from the newspaper where Bentiu goes to school, right? Grand Forks, North Dakota. Not sure the name of the publication, but they wrote an article shortly after the Alaska Sports Hall of Fame put out an article on Bentiu. And in the article, they interviewed Bartlett head coach Steve Drussel, right? And he was talking about when Bentiu was back in high school, and he referenced an unofficial player ranking that came out when Bentiu was in high school that Bentiu was left off of. And when I read it, I was like, they talking about? So I went back and I typed in, I don't even remember what I typed in, but I found the unofficial player ranking, right? And it was probably 10 players. It was probably 10 players. And I'm not even going to name the players, but ask me how many of them players is playing Division I basketball and scoring 4 or 5, 20
points. 2 points, bro.
Hey, any points, facts in a Division I NCAA basketball game. Not many that I put on that list. So you can, and it's not to say that none of those players worked hard. That's not what that was about. But it's just saying Bentiu outworked and passed up a lot of kids who appear to be ahead of him, or that, I or other people pegged ahead of him. And he used all that stuff for motivation, for fuel, whether he was doing the sand dunes, going to the weight room, getting up extra shots. He's at a junior college. Nobody's talking about him. He's at a prep school. Nobody's talking about him. He don't got no offers. They getting smashed by Impact and things like this. You know what I mean? Or not Impact. Getting smashed by Finlay. He ain't got
He sends out 600 emails for himself, man.
100 emails
for himself.
Hey, he ain't on Captain U and NCSA. He's sending his own emails. No shade to them, but I'm just like, bro, this man, I've never seen anything. And then I want to parallel this into the Jeremiah Bailey, bro. Jeremiah Bailey, it's not getting nearly as much press, but Jeremiah Bailey might have been. Bentiu wasn't bad, so when I say worse, it's not saying Bentiu was bad. Jeremiah Bailey wasn't as good as Bentiu starting off. Like, Jeremiah Bailey was not good. Like, just to put it in the most kindest way possible. Like, he was not good. Like, just in Fairbanks, there's probably 10 to 15 guys you would have picked above Jeremiah just in his grade, starting off in high school. We're not talking about the whole city. We talking about his grade. Like, I talked with a friend from Fairbanks, and they were telling me that Jeremiah Bailey actually didn't start playing basketball until he was like in the 8th grade. He's playing for ex-NBA guy Damon Stoudemire now at Pacific. He got a 28-point game here. He getting dunks against Gonzaga. You know what I mean? Close games and whatnot. I'm like, hold up. Gonzaga with all these lottery picks? You the guy that was playing JV at Monroe. So
that's crazy, bro. And these stories, man, is kind of like why I'm always on the energy of Alaska basketball hoops momentum right now is crazy, right? Because you got those stories that are happening right now, right? And those stories are bringing light to kids who may not have to go through what they went through as far as like, you know, the alternate routes to get to, you know, a Division I school or a four-year school, regardless of the classification or division, a four-year school, and really be able to, you know, get school paid for and really rock out in the way that they need to rock out. So all the kids, you know, the top players in our state, I think they're very well known right now, regardless of how they're known, whether it be through contact, through email, social media. There's a lot of kids who are on a lot of coaches' radar right now, and I think it's a really dope thing to see, man.
Facts. Yeah, I think things are turning, man. Last weekend, right? Valentine's Day weekend, I just remember looking at my phone and just thinking, wow, like I never thought I'd see this. Like I never thought I would see like a day where like, you know, I think Daishen White, you know, he's at UT Tyler, right? D2, and I think he had 30 points. Bentiu Panoam, you know, 25 points. Jeremiah Bailey, 28 points. Jordan Todd at CSI, 23 rebounds. And, you know, I'm just watching like, there's no way. You know, Alyssa's playing on TV. Daishen G got the G League popping. You know, Ruthie overseas. And I'm just like sitting back like.
And there's so many more names that are killing it right now, bro. They're just not super like, you know, broadcast with a microscope on it, but there's so much going on right now with just Alaska basketball, bro, that I say like the momentum is crazy right now, man. It's super, super crazy.
And I mean, even to bounce off of what he is saying, like about there's that momentum and it may not be talked about among certain kids. It's like we look 3-4 years ago, it was the same situation with Bentiu, right? Like, but 3 to 4 years later, like all of that work that was put in now is being able to come to the surface, and now it's able to be talked about. But it's just like that process. So it really is a crazy time. Even just thinking about the girls side of basketball, like just looking at what's going on with the girls and looking at the talent, and it's easier for obviously me to know more about what's going on with the girls side because that's the side that I'm on. But it's just there's so many coaches that are interested in what Alaska kids have to offer, you know, and it's like, and that goes from every level of basketball. And there's so many kids that are super, super talented that are just waiting to get their shot. So it really is. I mean, E says it all the time, man. It is crazy how great Alaska basketball is. You know, like it's something that's not talked about enough. I think a lot of times it's more talked about like what isn't great about Alaska basketball versus like what is really going on here, and what type of positive momentum we have and how we can shake that positive momentum and just keep it going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's one of the moments for me where like I just want to encourage like all the youngins that are watching, whether you're on the girl side, the boy side, whether you're in a We Got Next certified 16, or if nobody knows your name, or if you're in somebody else's top 15, or it don't really matter. At the end of the day, you just got to work, man. Like that's just what it is. Cause like if you don't put in the work, then people are gonna pass you up, and it don't matter how good you are now. Like at the end of the day, you got to work, and if you don't work, it is what it is, and it's going to be one of the Bentiu situations. You know, get passed up by somebody who is. So yeah.
That's so facts, man. That's because I'm just even thinking now, like, okay, who are gonna be the Bentus, the next Bentus that was, because everybody sees the, everybody sees the ones, right? Everybody sees tier one kid who just has it written all over him and can't miss and all this. But when that can't miss tier one, elite kid has a subpar work ethic and just doesn't take it serious, doesn't, go all out with the grind and doesn't commit to the game like that, doesn't eliminate the distractions and really zero in on a focus consistently over time, somebody somewhere, not just in some abstract sense, like in your neighborhood, in your peer group in Alaska, is going to catch you and pass you. And that Bentiu thing is that's probably the wildest, like in my paying attention to this, that's him and Jeremiah Bailey literally are the wildest. That's the wildest I've ever seen.
But you know what's crazy about all that though? And you just said this earlier, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and it's gonna make me sound crazy. Is it crazy or is it just like the timing is lining up right? Because he's been dropping 40, 30 points, whamming on dudes. The one clip that I love, my favorite clip of Bentiu, a wham out, and I'm the first person back on defense, literally, bro. Like that clip alone, bro. If there needed to be a movie trailer about Bentu's life, bro, or Bentu's hoop career, I don't even get deep on life, but his hoop career, him hooping, show that clip, bro. That's all you need to show. I hope that clip was on all his like recruiting stuff when he sent it out, bro, because that's probably one of the craziest clips I've ever seen in general, man, from a high school kid at that time. So, but no, shout out to them dudes, man. They doing some good stuff. They're being pioneers for the younger ones, man, and they may not know it, but I think the hoop team, for the ones that know, the Fairbanks people, the Anchorage people, and everybody just in general in the state, man, they really appreciate all our college kids and what they got going on, and sending hope back down, man, for the ones that are here and something to look forward to and even chase or try to pass up, man. So it's really dope, man.
Thanks. Yeah, shout out to them guys. Speaking on that clip, y'all know I recorded that clip low key. So,
bro, hey, I'm already knowing.
Hey, so I recorded that clip. That's back in the old school. We got next days. I had my little stool from Walmart, right? Little 1 foot stool off the ground. So I'm at the East High Gym. I'm standing between the bleachers, and Bentiu was going off that game. Like, it was pretty obvious, like, he was going off. Like, he was just hitting all types of threes. And on the other side of the ball, you had, not going to say they had everybody, but they were stacked. That was Bentu's last year. And he ended up having a 40 ball in that game. Hit a bunch of threes. But I remember filming, and I forget who had the ball, but somebody tried to throw a pass, and like usually I'm real smooth with the pans, right? Like I'm freehanding, no tripod, so I'm with the pans, and it's real smooth when like even a change of possession or whatever. Bentiu come out of nowhere, and it almost looked like some Batman, like freaking Flash, Incredibles. This little he run across the screen so fast, and when you like look at that clip, it's just like boom, and like I missed, like he's out of the frame, and then I like quickly smoothly try to pan over. He's already dang near hanging on the rim and done fell off the rim, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And like you said, he hits the ground, and you would have thought it was the end of practice. He trying to do the sprints, touch the line, and all this, and I'm like, he talking some cash, but it was just, he's always played like that. Whether I was watching him, I remember watching the West tournament, and I'm just going on random stuff now, but because I can't put all this stuff in IG captions or tweets and stuff, right? Bruh, I remember watching Bentiu and Bartlett the year that they made state his last year get smashed at West multiple times. They played Planet Athlete, got smashed. They played some prep school out of Houston, Texas, and they had 6'8", 6'6" guards, athletic. Little Falanico got two-hand yammed on the fast break, body to body. Derrick Rose, just destroyed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm filming the game, bro. They up 40, 50 maybe. Bentiu is out there because they didn't take. But I'm telling you, like you could see it in everybody's face, like RIP, like we're getting smashed. Like this, just call the game now. Bentiu, you would have thought it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. The NCAA Final Four or something. He's out there. Duke J. Williams slapping the floor. Let's go. He's running from sideline to sideline, moving his feet, getting steals, running, intercepting passes. And I'm like, bro, you're down 50. What are you doing? Like, I'm dang near about to sit in the crowd. Like, I'm done filming. But he was going so hard, like it was the craziest thing. And seeing what he's doing now, I go to open gyms, same stuff. We had an open gym, bro. We're at an open gym. He's playing like a G League dude trying to get a 10-day, bro. Like that's how hard he's going. Like he's playing like like you got NBA execs on the sideline, in the East upstairs gym. And to see the way he plays now, it's like nothing has changed. Literally nothing has changed. So just seeing that, I think that's the dopest part for me for Bentiu, man. It's like Darian said, he's just kind of he's the ultimate case study for just hard work. A lot of times, people work hard, they don't reach nearly the level Bentiu has, but it's dope to see good things happen to good people, man. And we don't know I don't know the half. I wasn't there. Darian witnessed a lot of it, but just hearing about the legendary stories about the work he's put in and continue to put in despite what it looked like. And he went to Bartlett, went to Bartlett.
1101, man.
Proud Bartlett alum. Like, let's talk about that.
Man.
Let's talk about, I'm going to go there. I'm going to take it there. Like, we in an era now where, kids almost need a little notes thing and a action photo to commit to high schools in the city. They need a Tipton edit to tell us where they going to high school. And I'm like, bruh, just go to school. And it's not it's not to harp on anybody's school choice or anything like that. But I know that Bentiu went to Bartlett. And, if you're one of the guys, and even if you're not, that desire to want to transfer and the greener pastures is always going to be there. And everybody's situation is different, but hats off to Bentiu for going to Bartlett and helping turn that program around or keep in step with the tradition of what we know Bartlett has always been. A lot of transfers. When Bentiu was there were multiple high-level transfers out of Bartlett. I think they lost CIC his senior year, but they made it to the game.
Yeah, I remember that's that year. Hey, I was still learning Alaska basketball team, but I was super intrigued. That year, East had that team. Was Marquise White on that team, bro?
Yeah, him and Bentiu same.
Yeah, that was an energetic game, bro. And West, like I said, that energy, man. I'm up at the top, bro. The top behind like the visitors bench, bro, and that shit was it was jumping, man. It was
that
wild,
was that
bro.
Dayon buzzer beating 3 in the corner.
Yes, that kid, bro.
That game was crazy, bro. That game was wild.
Shout out Deion Jones. Shout out. Hey, man. It's stories, man. But it's dope. I'm hoping kids get inspired to work. I always feel like an old head, like when I be on stuff like that. Like, oh, you just gotta work. It just reminds me of like older people when I was younger telling me stuff, but it's like it's
But
just
I mean, it's so true, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like regardless if you're working on some stuff that's super advanced, you're working on some stuff that's super like basic. If you're working and you're working on something that's gonna translate to what you do in games, bro, it's gonna show. It's gonna help you. You're gonna progress. You're gonna get better if you're working. But if you're not working and you got like a part-time work ethic, bro, you're not really gonna get too much out of it. You're gonna get what's supposed to come out of it, but if you're not really committed to working like that, man, it's all gonna be for fun and games. It's never gonna be too serious for you.
facts. Yeah, I think it's so much we could stay on that all day, man. But I want to low key move it to the southeast, man. Just changing gears a little bit, man. We got a young lady, Kendall Carson, Juneau Douglas High School alum. She's a freshman at Pepperdine right now, and she's not putting up crazy numbers, but she has quietly broken into the starting lineup, right? Pepperdine D1, they in the West Coast Conference with Gonzaga and them, right? That's big time. I've seen in her first start, I want to say she had 14 points. Can't think of the full stat line, but she's been hooping. Had some big moments, game-winning assists a few games ago. Making major moves and representing a part of the state that really you don't really hear about a lot. Even when they do have kids that's putting up numbers, at least as far as Anchorage is concerned, we're usually looking at them or people from their region as kind of suspect until proven otherwise, right? Like, oh, y'all are, oh, you and Juno hooping? Oh, yeah, okay. Bring that to Anchorage. You ain't playing nobody. That sort of thing. So to see Kendall doing that, I think is dope, especially considering we all watched her last year. I know y'all got to see her up close in a couple of games, traveling to Juneau.
I'm glad we don't got to do that no more.
All I'm saying is, bro, the last 2 years, hold on. Let me get it right. The last 2 years, bro, we've been killed, right? All right. 2 years ago, and we're gonna stay on Kendall, but 2 years, I gotta build it up. 2 years ago, right? We coached against Diamond 5 times. 5 times they beat us, right? We all know who was on that team. Shout out to my dog. Like me and Alyssa's my dog, right? She's my dog. Alyssa Peely, bro, the greatest girls basketball player to ever play basketball in Alaska. Period, right? Shout out to Alyssa. 2 years ago, we lost them 5 times. People killed us. Last year, we lost twice to Juneau, right? Not saying that, their team was crazy, not saying that our team was crazy. We lost to Juneau. Kendall did numbers in those games. The stuff that she did in those games then, she's doing now, and she's doing it on a bigger stage. So all I'm asking, bro, like, give our defensive coordinator or whoever that guy is or whoever that lady is a little bit of slack, bro, because those are some exceptional talents, man. Like, I'm going to tell you when I really noticed Kendall was like that, bro, it was May 2019. Shout out Inner Trails basketball, man. They had a tournament in Seattle, and she was playing with Tria Hope, man. Is it Tria Hope? Is it Tria Hope? I'm pretty sure she was playing with Tria Hope. She's one of those players, man, where no matter who she's playing against, she's going to let you know she's on the court, and she's going to hoop, whether it be 6 points or 25. But if she got 6 points, best believe she counted 8 rebounds, probably 4 assists, may give you 4 or 5 steals, but she's impacting the game. And it's super dope, man, seeing kids that you get a chance to coach against, man, and witness their greatness, and then they go off and you know what I'm saying? She just flipped the page. It's a different day, but it's the same thing happening, man. She's dope, man.
Facts, man. Facts. Yeah, Kendall, she's definitely putting on for her city, but also for Alaska, because she's right there and she's right in step with everything that's happening. On the girls' side, girls' side is putting out all types of girls, from D2, D1, all over the place. You got girls, making it on the college level, but thriving at the college level, which I think is dope. You see girls like Alyssa, see girls like Ruthie Hebert and stuff like the big names. But then girls like Kendall, girls like Tenebo Leva, and people like this. I think it's just dope to see, because you got all these different, Hannah Wandersee, right, from Kodiak, end up being she was GNAC Player of the Year, Tanae's sophomore year. That's pretty major. So little small island like Kodiak to Anchorage to Fairbanks to Juneau and everywhere in between, it's kids. So it's dope to see that. Bethany Karstens, she out there on the peninsula. Nikiski playing 3A ball.
Yeah.
Nevada now, getting run, getting minutes, hitting threes like how we know she can. So I think stuff like that is dope, man. It just show people, regardless of where you from, if you can play, if you handle your business, you're gonna give yourself a chance. So yeah, but yeah, man, it's a lot going on. Speaking of Juno, gotta shout out Caleb Tompkins, kind of random, but 2016, that Bentu's year, right? They actually lost to Juno in the first round, right? Caleb Tompkins was one of the seniors on Juno Douglas's team that actually won the state championship that year. 6'5" guard. He's playing at Pacific University. No. Give me just a second. I want to say William. He is playing at a Division III school in the Pacific Northwest. Sorry, I had it on the tip of my tongue, but I know the initials are WPU. I'm trying to look it up so I don't misquote it. But Caleb Tompkins, 6'5".
Warner Pacific.
Warner Pacific. There we go.
That's in Portland, bro. Yeah.
My man. So my man Caleb is playing at Warner Pacific University. COVID postponements, cancellations, all of this. They are playing their very first game of the season tomorrow.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I get excited when people say they playing like their first game or getting close, bro, because not to get off topic, but when people play their first game, I feel like every game this year that I've coached in has felt like the first game. Like, because at any given time, we all know, not to be too clear, like this shit can be yanked away real fast, right? So it's like, it's cool when people really get their chance to like get out your shell and go show us what you've been doing since you've been, locked down since March or whenever it may be for you. So yeah, that's dope, man. That gets me excited when people get a chance to play, man.
Yeah, I'm hyped too, man. See what he do. 3-point shooter, right? Can shoot the long ball. You know how Alaska do. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he do his senior year. Shout out Juno, man. Shout out Southeast. I know Ketchikan got some young kids on the boys and the girls side. It's gonna be interesting to see how things shake out. Regions coming up. Shout out Juno boys. Of course, Cooper Craigmont and them. I want to say they're undefeated on the season. I think they're 12-0, somewhere around there. Haven't lost a game. Got wins over Mount Edgecombe, Sitka, Thunder Mountain, Ketchikan. So they're handling business in the Southeast. So it'll be interesting to see what they do coming down the home stretch, regional tournament, and seeing what that state tournament look like.
I'm excited, man.
Am I on mute? No, I'm not. Speaking of the state tournament being moved to the Valley area. I don't think it's right that we got a podcast without bringing up the ACS and Colony game that just recently happened.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I'm gonna say one thing. I have been pretty impressed um with Savior. She's gotten. I don't even want to say. I don't even want to necessarily say she's gotten better. I think she has gotten better, but she just every time I see her, I feel like she just looks more elite and elite. You know what I'm saying? Like not even on some like, well, you've been working on your game every day, things like that, which I'm sure she has, but like she's just a dog and she just gets after it. Um, I thought that I'm a big fan of obviously India. India's been playing well. Um, uh, they have a freshman. Colony has a freshman, Kaylee Kaylee
Will.
Wilkes.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like her game. I really like her game. She's solid. Um, she actually gave my girls team some problems in comp for a while, so I'm glad she out of there. But yeah, man, I just think that the Colony team they're strong. I mean, even Maggie Spencer, um, Tori. I thought Tori played really well in that game. And then obviously ACS has a lot of firepower with Sunny, Michaela, um, both the Michaelas. And then even I gotta shout out the Malia. Malia, she's super solid as well. And I think my favorite thing about her game is just her defensive intensity, man. She's a dog on defense and she loves to play it. So obviously both of those teams are both great teams. And I know ACS is going down to Arizona, I think. They did a
I think they're going to Cali. I think they're going to
Oh,
Cali.
Cali? Okay, Cali. So, I'm excited to see what they're gonna go out there and do. I'm sure we can expect good things from that. So, and then same with Colony. I'm excited to see Colony's going up to that tournament, right? To play the West Valley, that Fairbanks tournament.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that'll be cool to see. I know we talked about that earlier, but that'll be dope to see. Just some different teams play each other, man. It's been a lot of the same teams playing each other over and over, so it's gonna be nice to get some variety.
Nah, I'm excited for that too, man. Because we all looking for the matchups, man. We looking for the matchups, baby. And before the season, we was talking about, okay, what's gonna happen when East play Colony or, ACS play whoever, and so getting a little early taste of some of that. Um, See what this Colony West Valley look like. Like Mingo, how you coming, bruh? Like we just gonna put it on the table. Like, you know what I mean? Like this is a big game for you. Not just team wise, but individual. Like you're probably guarding Patrick, unless, y'all, opt to play zone and whatnot. But it's just gonna be interesting. Like some of those matchups I'm really interested to see how kids play, see how kids respond. Another matchup in that game, you know, Jeremiah Herschrud.
Man, call that man by his government name, bro. Shish, man. Come on, bro. Call my man Shish, bro.
My bad.
Come on, man.
We got the artist formerly known as Shish. Got Shish, Steph Curry with the I'm not gonna gas it, but you got Shish on the ones and twos over there at Colony playing point guard. It'll be interesting to see how Stuart Erhart plays in that game because we already know how Shish is coming. We know Shish is giving you that 94 feet. I don't get tired. I'm in your grill, trying to turn you 3 and 4 times before you hit half court. Ain't no walking the court. Ain't no walking the ball up the court in the Colony game. Not when Shish is playing. So it's
Nah.
be interesting to see how Stewart plays in that game because he's 2 years younger. Really talented kid. I like his game a lot. But some of those games, some of those matchups, I'm really interested to see, man. You got Andrew Devine, Shout out Andrew Devine. I know he recently committed for football, to Carroll College. So that's big for him. Interesting to see how he plays, during that series. So saw that poster from the other night. Had to baptize that man. Had to end that man. Hard to that man.
I'm really excited on the girls' side, man. Look. So I'm writing down notes, bro. Just thinking about the matchups, right? So for obviously Colony, they got India and Toria, who are both like well around the basket. India's gonna beat you up. Tori's gonna finesse the hell out of you and give you a nice little soft touch, right? But then they got a matchup coming up when they're playing against West Valley. Rachel, the young one, Asia. Is her name Asia? Is her name Asia Peters? I think that's her name. I'm sorry if that's not her first name, but I know you Terrell Peters' little sister, and she's pretty solid, right? So you got that India, Toria, Rachel, Asia, right? Then you get away from that, and then you go into the Lathrop game, right? That Lathrop game against Colony, that's gonna be a pretty interesting game. And then you go back to West Valley, and you got Rachel matching up with Bella, right? So it's just I think on the girls' side, man, I think, with the bigs, shout out TJO at Lathrop, man. Torrance, shout out her. So it's gonna be bigs everywhere on the girls' side coming up, man. And for me, that's exciting to see because they're all like, I don't want to say true bigs, but they all know how to play around the basket well. So it's gonna be some matchups of who can defend without getting in foul trouble, who can get their stuff off without causing too many turnovers or missing too many shots and wrecking up momentum for their team. So that's just the bigs, bro. But guard play for all those teams, like matching up, is gonna be just as crazy, man. The freshmen with Colony, Hannah at Colony, Maggie at Colony. Then you go to West Valley and you got kids like Allie and the Blazy kid. And then you go to Lathrop and you got obviously TT and Tristan, man. So and Wasilla, they're always got some strong guards in the sense that they're gonna play hard and they're gonna run their system how it's supposed to be ran. So that it's gonna be a good weekend up there. It's gonna be cold as hell, but it's gonna be a good weekend up there for them, man. It's always a good time of basketball in Fairbanks, man. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be all the way live, man. That MAC NFC challenge, they usually have it in the Valley, but it's dope that they switching it up. This year it hasn't been in Fairbanks in quite a while that I can think of, but definitely gonna be tapped in. Hopefully they come through with the streams like they've been doing. It's been dope watching the streams, man. Hopefully even beyond this season can keep that up because it's been real dope looking at these games and being able to just break down the film, just kind of look at these teams and these players in a different way, being able to run the tape back because the film don't lie, so
yeah.
I'm gonna just because you see that box score and you're like, ooh, okay. It says about a 20 piece, a 20. And then you go back and watch the film and you like, that was about the most ugliest 20 piece. You got 4 cherry pick layups. You was 1 for 8 from 3. Hit about 8 free throws and man. So I don't know. I feel like it's dope watching the film. It's just seeing and watching, studying like player tendencies. Who's really playing hard, giving effort, consistent effort, right? Who's defending, right? Who's defending? Who is really trying to sit down, make sure that they're not getting scored on all the time, especially, when you're one of the better players, it's so much, man. Like I'm watching some of these kids and they ain't playing no defense. They getting scored on. They not getting no rebounds. They getting beat over the top. They walking back. They missing off.
I'm gonna cut you off, bro. Like I think I think a lot of it has to do with COVID, bro. And it's super, super obvious. And yeah, but I think a lot of people were talking about, I felt like at a time when people were really got a chance to get back outside, a lot of kids and a lot of people were talking about the work that they were putting in, right?
Mm.
Like, I think the COVID situation, hurt a few people as far as like their work ethic. Maybe people weren't super heavy into being in the gym before it popped off, and then stuff happened, and then they were only given a short amount of time to really work. And then I think there are people who, put their brains to work and figured out how can I adjust and still get the work that needs to be taking place. And then you got people who just really, 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 really went after it and was ready to ball when the time came. And then the last obvious thing, man, is that's from defiant people, defiant kids when it comes to these masks, bro. Hey, I'm the coach. I'm the coach with my kids, bro, or our kids. Hey, you can either play, figure it out, or you can take them off and go home, right? And everybody in the state don't have to deal with that, but there's an event coming up called, March Madness, and there's a lot of people that's gonna have to figure that out, man. And I think it's necessary. It sucks, but I think it's necessary because it keeps us playing. So yeah, but it's COVID is a gift and a curse for a lot of people right now, man. A lot, because there's some people that's getting off that I don't think if it was for the COVID situation, they probably would have, same thing would have happened. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that COVID, man.
Yeah, that COVID
exposing and setting spotlights on a lot of people, man.
Yeah, you right, and that's facts. I think it's been real interesting to see everybody been responding to it, adjusting, like you said, and just the mask mandates and things like this, depending on what region of the state you in. It's a whole bunch of programs who are not playing this year. Teams who literally have their whole season canceled. People, it's not like college, high school kids not getting a year back. You know what I mean? So kids are just straight losing whole seasons. And, can't help but feel sorry for some of those kids in those situations. I know it's easy to complain about the mask and things like this, but just watching kind of from the outside looking in, I mean, I'd much rather be struggling to breathe through a mask and playing than losing my whole senior year,
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like that's like one of the wildest things, almost like last year when all this popped off, kids and parents been waiting their whole life for graduation. And it's like, nah, we're gonna do the Zoom call. And it's like, what? So I think it's dope, man. Having it in the Valley should be very interesting. Can't think of the last time it was there, or the last time it wasn't in Anchorage, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to think. Hold up. Yeah, it's definitely been. It hasn't been in the 2000s, 2010s. Like it's probably been 20 plus years since it's not been in Anchorage, bro. Because it's been at the Sullivan Arena since, like, when the 2000s started, it was in the Sullivan Arena until Alaska Airlines Center got it in like 2015, 16 with Bentiu Panoam.
I just hope they get it right, bro.
Yeah.
Like figure out a way to make sure that experience is still one of those experiences that you've worked for all your life. Like not necessarily saying what we've been doing hasn't been one of those like experiences, but state tournament is supposed to be one of those things you talk about for the rest of your life. The lights, the people being there, what's being said, the people at the table, like all that stuff is something you talk about and is worth a lifetime. So I just hope, the good people at old ASA get it right, which I think they will, man. I hope so.
Yeah. And I just wonder also, like, which school is going to be the main school? Because, they talking about us being split up between like 4 different schools. And, I don't know, maybe because of COVID, they're going to try to have all the games simultaneously going on at different schools, but
I
I think
I don't know if this information is common knowledge, but I know that they're going to use 4 schools and like each. So 3A girls will be at one gym, 3A boys will be at one gym, 4A girls, they have their own certain gyms. I'm pretty sure that's the information I was given by a reliable resource. I don't know if that's common knowledge yet, though, or even if that's how they're going to stick to it.
Interesting. Well, it should be dope. And for the people who can't travel out there, I'm sure they'll have the streams popping. Hopefully the NFHS network is still the go-to. And if that's the case, everything should be fine, be able to still watch all the games, on some level, for the fans out there. So, but yeah, we done covered a lot.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to that boy. Shout out to Eastside Joe, man.
Oh yeah, shout out
Eastside Joe, bro.
That East Side, but yeah.
Hey, can I say something real quick, bro?
What's up?
Hey, this is not to start any controversy. This is to champion people that need to be championed, right? There's some historical stuff going on the east side of Anchorage right now, happening at 2 different places. Let's champion the historical moments, not for one side, not for both sides. If you don't have, like, if we're not gonna champion at all, like, bro, let's not try to get into this debacle of what looks better or what. I think I won't say exactly what was said, but I was talking to Demietrius earlier, and if you look at it on both sides, man, is kids that grew up together, went to elementary, middle school together. They played ball together in comp league. They played against each other in comp league. They know each other very well. In the summertime, springtime, they're probably together majority of the time. So regardless of what school is doing what team is doing what, bro, when there's something historical going on, like there's going on right now, bro, I think not so much as a whole community, but for sure the basketball community, man, we gotta give flowers. And there's people giving flowers, but it's not always about who's the best, who's this and who's that, bro. There's some historical things happening right now on both sides. And I don't need to say names. I don't need to say schools, because I think everybody knows elephant is always in the room. But shout out to them, man. Shout out to them and what they got going on. It's dope to see that, one of the main attractions, regardless of sport, in the state of Alaska, is talking about girls, and it's talking about girls basketball. That's pretty dope to me. So regardless of who's doing what, man, something historical is going on, something legendary is going on. I think we gotta do better about just making sure we keep light on the legendary events, and not so much of what could be and what need to be, but what's actually taking place and what's happening. So that's all I got, man.
Hey, that's facts. That's all I'm gonna say. # facts. I ain't got Obama out. Drop the mic. Nah, that was some real spill. I think if you know, you know. But the viewers, man, viewers and the listeners, they tapped in. They got their ears to the streets, so they know what's going on. And like you said, got to give flowers. It's more than one way to skin a cat. It's
bro. Hey, my thing is, bro, like, they all legendary, man. There's so many legendary kids within a 2-mile radius of each other, doing the exact same thing, just in different ways, man.
It's all facts. I think every kid, everybody's journey different. Everybody's pathway to college basketball or whatever, whatnot, what have you, gonna look different. I remember when Kamaka and those guys was coming out and just thinking like, man, like, wow, this is crazy. Because it was so, like, it seemed so high profile at the time, because you got ESPN rankings and USA Today team rankings for Jefferson High School in Oregon, right, where Kamaka transferred to, and all this stuff. Brandon Huffman, right? He's signing with UNC. Got the Tipton edits with all the offers, and it's like, wow, like we haven't seen this. Like, this is major. JT Thor, but then you see somebody like Bentiu. Bentiu didn't have no Tipton edits. He didn't have no, here's my top 5. He wasn't in nobody's top 5. Nothing. Jeremiah Bailey, he didn't have no D1 offers out of high school. Like, went to JUCO, killed at JUCO. Made it to the national championship game with Pima, and the rest is history. Kid that just started playing basketball in 8th grade. He ain't had no hype around his name in 9th. Nothing. But he still made it to the highest level, playing at a 3A school in Fairbanks at that. So I just think, it's a lot of different ways to get to that same destination. And like you said, kids they all rock with each other for the most part, and they all from the same side of town, particularly in Anchorage, in the situation you alluding to. And it's dope to see kids thriving and succeeding. And, I think we should spread a little bit more positivity and not be as divisive, because, we all want to see certain games and matchups and things like this. But to try to...
And as a basketball fan, bro, and that's not what I'm saying. I've talked to Darian about this. He said it. Who wouldn't want to see certain matchups, bro? But what is, like, on the grand scheme of things, outside of bragging rights, what is that doing for anybody at this point, especially with the COVID situation, bro?
Facts. Yeah, nothing can do time, because at the rates things is going, it's gonna keep going up. So I'm excited to see what the future holds. It's a lot of young kids with promise. I'm hoping kids continue to tap in, and just plug away. It's right in front of you. There's all types of examples, from the Tenavo Levas to the Alyssa Peelys, and it's like, be inspired, man. People are doing it on all different levels. You riding around town, you see that people mover drive off, and Tanae throwing you the peace sign, and it's like, bro, like, this is legendary. Like, she on the bus, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, that's wild to me, in a good way, And I just remember, even with Tanae, like, I remember her coming out of high school, and, she's a head case. She doesn't have it. And, I would hear that because she was real kind of, she one of those players where her emotions on her sleeve type players, right? Real doggy, play with a lot of fire and things like this. So it's just dope to see what she's been able to do, how she's been able to develop at UAA, man. And I don't know, man, it's just, it ain't no one way to do nothing. Ideally, we all got what we think we would rather see with certain kids, but it's, it ain't no one way to just do anything. But it's dope to see kids getting it however they get it, man. Because as long as you're from Alaska, on the stuff I'm on, as long as you're from Alaska, shoot, I'm going to rock with you pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm on. That's the type of stuff I'm on. Like, hey, we going to try to claim you. If you don't necessarily claim us, that's cool. But if you claiming us, it's even better. You know what I mean? So shout out everybody, man. I don't think we mentioned JT Thor. Shout out JT Thor. You know what I mean? Auburn, they in a rough little stretch right now, losing a few games. But JT hooping, man. 20 something points at Kentucky, 24 points at Rupp. It's pretty legendary, man. So
legendary.
Yep. So we just gonna keep it rolling. We got players all over the place. Young kids in the tuck, ducked off, matchups galore, state tournament around the corner. Bentiu and all them got conference championships coming up. I think NWAC might start playing soon. I don't know.
They talking about it, man.
Yeah, Sullivan Menard from Colony balling out at Western Wyoming. We see you. There's kids everywhere, man. AI and them at Adams State, Alex Carlton at MSU Denver. It's kids everywhere. So shout out everybody, man. Shout out my Chugiak hitters, Diamond, all the people we don't be talking about never, or that don't get no love. We see you, man. We trying to tap in with the streams. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see how this season wrap up. So that's all I got, man.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, in that case, we covered a whole bunch of stuff. So, again, like we kind of said at the beginning, you can follow me at Darian Shot It on Instagram. I think that's my Twitter too. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, go ahead, D.
Oh yeah, Demietrius Preston. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at Demietrius P. On both. So just follow me. Follow We Got Next, of course. E, what you got?
Just Eric Boot, man. I'm saying, man, just follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Eric Boot, bro. That Twitter should be updated real soon. About to drop that coach handle. So yeah, just Eric Boot, man.